The news hit me like a punch to the gut. My mother, the woman who had nurtured and shaped me into the person I am today, was gone. The old family farmhouse that had been collecting dust and memories for years now belonged to me. I couldn't shake the feeling of loss and disconnection, so I decided to move to the countryside in search of solace and a deeper understanding of my roots. As I drove down the winding country road, the picturesque landscape captured my heart. Rolling hills, lush green fields, and wildflowers swaying in the breeze created a tapestry of tranquility. As I turned into the driveway of the farmhouse, I felt a wave of nostalgia wash over me. This was where my mother had spent her childhood summers, and the memories of her stories echoed in my mind. I sighed as I stepped out of my car and stared at the farmhouse, a mix of excitement and apprehension filling me. Before I could contemplate further, I heard the crunch of tires on gravel, and I turned to see a pickup truck pulling up beside me. A woman in her late 40s, with a warm smile and auburn hair, emerged from the vehicle. "Hi, you must be Jessica," she exclaimed, extending her hand. "I'm Laura Anderson, your neighbor. I heard you were moving in today, and I wanted to come by and welcome you to the neighborhood." "Thank you, Laura," I replied, shaking her hand. "I really appreciate the warm welcome. I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything that's happened." Laura nodded understandingly. "I can only imagine how difficult it must be. If you need any help or have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We're always here for you." Over the next few days, I spent time exploring the grounds and getting acquainted with the old building. Laura introduced me to the rest of the Anderson family, who lived a few miles down the road. Their youngest son, Tom, was particularly friendly and seemed genuinely interested in helping me settle in. "So, what brings you to the countryside?" Tom asked one afternoon as we walked along the edge of a nearby field. "My mother passed away recently, and she left me the farmhouse," I explained, my voice catching slightly. "I guess I'm here to find some answers and reconnect with my roots." Tom nodded thoughtfully. "I'm really sorry about your mom, but I think you'll find this place has a certain healing energy. There's something special about the history and the people here." As I started to work on the renovations, the farmhouse began to reveal its secrets. The creaky floorboards, faded wallpaper, and antique furniture held the whispers of the past, and I was eager to uncover the stories that lay within the walls of my new home. With Tom and the Anderson family's help, I started to feel more connected to the place and the community, and I could sense the beginning of a new chapter in my life. One warm summer day, as I was pulling down some old wallpaper in the attic, I stumbled upon a hidden compartment behind the crumbling plaster. Inside was a collection of yellowed envelopes tied together with a faded ribbon. Intrigued, I carefully removed the bundle and brought it downstairs to my makeshift study. As I opened the first envelope, I found a handwritten letter filled with elegant cursive. The words belonged to my long-lost relative, Amelia, and told the story of her love affair with a young soldier named William during World War II. The letters revealed a side of Amelia I'd never known, and I couldn't help but be drawn into their passionate and tragic tale. As the weeks went by, I spent my evenings reading through the letters, becoming increasingly captivated by Amelia and William's love story. I knew I had to learn more about them, so I decided to embark on a journey to unravel their mysterious past. My search for information led me to the local library, where I spent hours poring over historical documents and newspaper clippings. The kindly librarian, Ms. Collins, noticed my dedication and took an interest in my research. "So, what brings you to our little library, Jessica?" Miss Collins asked one afternoon, as I sifted through a pile of old newspapers. I'm researching my relative Amelia and her love story with a soldier named William during World War II, I explained, looking up from the faded newsprint. I found some letters they exchanged, and I'm trying to learn more about their lives. Miss Collins' eyes lit up with interest. Amelia, you say? I remember my grandmother mentioning her a few times. She was quite involved in the community, especially during the war. Encouraged by her knowledge, I pressed on. Do you have any suggestions on where I might find more information about them? Miss Collins thought for a moment before responding. You could try searching through our town archives or check out some of the memoirs written by local residents. They might contain personal accounts and stories about Amelia and William. As I followed Miss Collins' advice, I learned that Amelia had been an active member of the community, organizing fundraisers and events for the war effort. William, on the other hand, had enlisted in the army at a young age and had quickly risen through the ranks. One day, as I was scanning the library shelves, I came across a worn-out memoir written by a woman named Mrs. Thompson. The book described life in the small town during the war and mentioned Amelia and William several times. I couldn't contain my excitement and rushed to share my discovery with Miss Collins. Look what I found! I exclaimed, waving the memoir in front of her. It's written by Mrs. Thompson, and it mentions Amelia and William. Do you think she might still be around? Miss Collins glanced at the memoir, her eyes widening in recognition. Why, yes, I believe she is. She lives in a little cottage on the edge of town. I can give you directions if you'd like. Armed with the information, I decided to track down Mrs. Thompson, hoping she might have more insight into Amelia and William's lives. When I finally met Mrs. Thompson, she turned out to be a charming, elderly lady living in a quaint cottage filled with memories. She welcomed me with open arms and seemed delighted to share her recollections of Amelia and William. As we sat in her cozy living room, sipping tea, she recounted stories of their love, their laughter, and the heartache that followed when William was sent off to war. I remember the day William left, she said, her voice filled with emotion. Amelia stood there on the porch, tears streaming down her face, but she never let go of that brave smile. Through Mrs. Thompson's vivid memories, I was able to piece together the depth of Amelia and William's love and the sacrifices they had made for each other. The more I learned, the more I felt a connection to them and a desire to honor their memory. Mrs. Thompson, thank you for sharing your memories with me, I said, my eyes brimming with tears. Their love story has touched my heart, and I feel a responsibility to keep their legacy alive. Mrs. Thompson patted my hand gently, a soft smile on her lips. You're doing them a great service, my dear. The past may be gone, but their love lives on through people like you, who cherish their memory and share their story with the world. With renewed determination, I set out to learn even more about Amelia and William and to find a way to honor their love and resilience. I knew that their story deserved to be shared, and I would do everything in my power to ensure their legacy lived on. As I continued my research, I discovered that Amelia had been an incredibly talented artist. In her spare time, she had created beautiful paintings inspired by her love for William and the natural beauty of the countryside. Unfortunately, her work had never received the recognition it deserved, as she had been overshadowed by the tragedies of war. Feeling a deep connection to Amelia, I decided to take up painting as a way to honor her and express my own emotions. As I picked up the paintbrush and began to experiment with colors and techniques, I found solace in the process and began to develop my own unique style, influenced by the connection I felt with Amelia. The more I painted, the more I realized that art had the power to heal and bring people together. I knew that Amelia's story needed to be shared, so I decided to organize an art exhibition to showcase her work alongside my own. The preparations for the exhibition were both exciting and challenging. With the help of Tom and the Anderson family, I transformed the old barn on the farmhouse property into a rustic art gallery. As word of the exhibition spread throughout the community, anticipation and curiosity grew. People from all walks of life came together to celebrate the life, love, and talent of Amelia and to experience the art that she and I had created. On the opening night, the barn was filled with the soft glow of fairy lights and the murmur of excited voices. As visitors wandered through the space, they were captivated by the beauty and emotion displayed in both Amelia and my artwork. Conversations sparked as people shared their own stories of love, loss, and resilience, creating a sense of connection and understanding. Among the attendees was Mrs. Thompson, who stood in front of one of Amelia's paintings with tears in her eyes. "I never thought I'd see her work displayed like this," she whispered. "Thank you for bringing her story to life and for helping us remember the strength and beauty that can be found even in the darkest times." As the evening came to a close, I realized that the exhibition had not only helped me find healing and solace, but had also created a space for the community to come together and honor the past. Through the power of art, Amelia and William's love story had transcended time, and their legacy would live on in the hearts of all those who had been touched by their tale. In the end, the whispers of the past had guided me to a new sense of purpose, identity, and connection. As I stood in the dimly lit barn, surrounded by the echoes of Amelia and William's love story, I knew that I had found my place in the world and that their spirit would continue to live on through my art and the love that we shared.